Welcome back to my channel. Like I told you in my last video, I did get an Addi machine and I'm doing a blanket, and I'm going to show you how I cast off and how I sew the ends straight to make it easy to put together for a blanket. So let me arrange the camera. Give me a second. See if I can get it just where you can see what it is that I am doing. Hopefully that gives you a good shot. I have all my rows on here already. If I can, there we go. And when I cast off, I do one round of a color that is very different from what I'm working on, and you'll see why in a minute. But I went all the way back around, and this is the last white one. So I'm gonna make sure, I usually do like 2 arm lengths out, and then I will cut it, and that is to sew it together. And so I just take that yarn and I set it inside the work, just off to the side like that. Then I take my odd color, and I don't leave but just like 4 or 5 inches sitting in here, and I close that, and then I crank it, make sure all these little ends pop down, give it a little tug, and then you're just going to go around one time with this yarn, and I'll show you why. This makes this a lot easier to do. Alright, now I'm all the way back around, and I'm just going to throw that in there, and what I do is kind of keep the stitches close to each other. I just do like a half knot, not pull it too tight, but just do it a little bit and set that in there. And then I have what you call waste yarn, and I'm going to do this in pink, so all the colors look really different. I lock that on, kind of hold it a little bit, make sure all these fall off. All right. And then on this one, I don't really know how many times I go around, but if you've used one of these machines, you see where your work curls. And if you're trying to stitch that up at the end, it kind of makes it a little bit difficult. So if you do some extra rounds, that will be the curl, and your actual working piece will be straight. So we just keep on cranking this. As you can see, I don't know off to the side if you can see, but when I got this Addi machine, the little black thing that holds the screw in the handle came off, so I don't have that little roundy thing on there. So I'm just kind of twirling it with my fingers. So get this a little tight in here to pull those stitches closer together. And on my waste yarn, I keep reusing this same bit over and over again, and I haven't cut it from the ball of the yarn. That way I can still use it on a future order. So it looks like I'm going to go around one more time. All right, now we're back. And you can see, I don't know if that's about 2 inches, 1.5 inches that's on here. Open that up, bring this in, and make sure it stays under that last white one. Close this, just hold this off to the side and crank. You'll go one time, and then the second time around your work will just start falling off. Then you don't have to pick it up with a needle. And then you just take it off like that. And this is a really cool color that I have right here that I've been working with. So just so you can see, hopefully this works where you can see how I sew this together. So I give it a bit of a stretch. It's a real pretty yarn. It's got some sparkles in it. I was worried about it snagging, but it didn't snag at all. So I start on this side where we started all the yarns. And let me pull out, this is that extra that I saved to sew it together. Now the Addi machine has 46 stitches. So when I'm doing this, I actually count them. That way I make sure that I have all 46 stitches. So here's where my yarn ended, right here. And you could see we went around with this blue color one time, and you see how my working yarn is right here in between the blues. So I know exactly what stitch right here that I'm going to be picking up. So the first thing I do is I find the closest one underneath where I started all these yarns in the machine, and that would be this stitch right here. So I put my crochet hook underneath there, then I look for the one right above it, which is this one right here. So that's one stitch and that's two stitch. Oh wait, I always make sure that my yarn is on the right side. All right, stick that in there. And then all I do is yarn over and I pull through. That's two stitches. Then I count, that was 2, 3, 4. It's one from each side. So that's 4, 5, 6, and I keep it fairly loose. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I hope you could see how I'm picking those up. Right in between the blues, the very last dark gray one. So I think that was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 1 on this side. Grab the one in instead of the one out. 3, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, and then 45, and the other side 46. And I go through there, and then what I'm doing, since I'm making a blanket and I want to make sure that everything goes the right way, my ending waist yarn is pink, so I put a pink stitch marker in that last stitch. That way it'll hold it from unraveling. And on the other side, you can see that I use yellow. So when I end that one the same way, I put a yellow marker. That way when I'm lining up the tubes together to sew them together, I have everything going in the same direction. Now, I'm going to show you why I use one piece of yarn, because you've seen people, you do the waste yarn and then you have to unravel all of it. What I do is, because I did that loose half a knot, I go ahead and undo that, because I have all my stitches picked up already. And then on this end over here, about halfway, wherever, about halfway, I start pulling the blue. And then I'll hold my work tight on this side without touching the blue. You can see that. And then I pull. This way it's not pulling my work. I'm just pulling the blue out. Oh, and I must have caught it on one of my stitches over here. See, this happens. I did. I caught a little bit of my blue in one of those stitches. So let's just work that out. No big deal. All patience. Yeah, I got that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip that little piece that got caught. Because it's just waste yarn anyways. So I've done this a few times already and I've never messed up the yarn like that. Of course, I mess it up now that I'm doing it on video. But when I do my videos, I don't edit. This is real life. Things don't always work out the way you want them to. But you see, I'm just finishing pulling, and see how that came right out? And then take the other side and hold it so it don't scrunch up, and just pull it until all the blue comes out. And then I just save this. I actually wrap it around the leg of my machine, and then on my next tube, it's right here hanging down off my table for next time. And now you'll see the waste yarn pops off. And then I just unravel this and set it off to the side, and I reuse it again the next time. And there, you can see the end, and it's still nice and loose because it was held straight, because everything that was curled, you see how curled up that gets? That's really hard to work with. And if you do the waste yarn, that's what's curled and this is straight, which makes it very easy. So that's how you do that. And then the other side, you can see I used the yellow and I have my yarn, and then I'm gonna pick that up and do that the same way. And I'm not sure how many tubes it's gonna take, but I'm gonna finish these up, and then when I'm sewing the tubes together, I will show you how I do that. So I hope that helps and shows you why it's really nice to use this one round of this yarn where you can find your work in between, because it's the gray is the first color on my main piece. So then all you do is look for that very last gray, and then you're pulling the one strand out instead of having to unravel every single one of these to finish your work, because this yellow will come off as one hunk. And then the beginning one you can actually use to wind back up on your machine without undoing it. Let the machine undo it as you work it back onto the machine again. That's how I use my first one. And this is how pretty the colors are for the blanket that I'm going to be making. And I will show you more on that later. I hope that helped. I hope the camera was set up good enough for you to kind of see what I was doing. If not, let me know and maybe I can do a different camera angle. So, all right, take my video down. Yes, I don't have any high-tech machinery or anything like that. I'm just starting out. Whoop! See? And I'm just setting my iPad up. So, let's straighten this out a little bit. I can turn this light off now. All right, and then I will show you. I showed you these two scarves last time, and I did the ends the same way. And you can see how nice the ends are, and they stay nice and straight. And when you do that crochet really loose, it still has all that stretch. And the only thing I didn't do was sew in the ends yet, because I'm going to do some kind of fancy crochet edging on these. So they're pretty long. These are longer than what my blanket ones are. And then you can see the other end the same way, if you could see the stitches. And it's set up, it looks just like a crochet chain, so if you know how to crochet, you can be creative and put any kind of border or anything that you want on the end of these. So these are things that I've been working on. I hope this video helped some new people using this. Like I said, I only got my Addi machine about a week and a half ago, so I'm still learning stuff. And as I figure out little tricks and shortcuts, because sometimes things are more difficult than they need to be, I will share them with you to make it easier for you to get your projects done. Thank you, and I'll see you next time from the Lakeside Crochet Shop. Bye.